Tala. This is my first video tutorial. The data in this video are samples only. These are some of the simple example of accounting transactions. Today, I will be showing you that creating a template with formula in Excel, you will have automatic balance sheet and an income statement. Just by linking the spreadsheet to the template, and as you input your transaction correctly in the Excel sheet, the balance sheet and income statement template will automatically update. So let's start. So as you can see in the Excel file, that we will input in the sheet the transactions, and you can see that the balance sheet has zero amounts and the income statement zero amount. So our first transaction. So we have our owner's equity. So the amount 662.50. We debit savings. We deposited it in our savings account, and our credit is opening balance equity. So as we check our balance sheet, the savings account increases by 662.50, and in our equity increases opening balance equity 662.50. The next transaction, we have anchored telephone expense in the amount of 200 US dollar. So the entry is debit telephone expense in the income statement, telephone, and credit savings. So there is a decrease in our savings account by 200. Next transaction, we transfer amount of 100 US dollar from our savings account to our checking account. So the savings account decreases by 100 and the checking account increases by 100 US dollar. The next transaction, we have an income of 1,000. The entries are debit accounts receivable 1,000, income, credit income 1,000. So the accounts receivable increases by 1,000 and our income increases by 1,000. The next entry, we have another income, the amount of 20,000 deposited to our checking account. So the checking account increases by 20,000 and the income increases by 20,000. Next entry, we have another income of 2,000. So debit, we deposited it in our savings account 2,000. So it increased our savings account by 2,000 and our income by increased by another 2,000. Next entry. So we receive a payment from our customer 500 US dollar. Most probably issued a check, so a post-dated check. So we inputted it in our undeposited funds and credited our accounts receivable by 500. So our accounts receivable decreases by 500 and our undeposited funds increases by 500. Next transaction. So we deposit some of the check that we receive to our checking account, the amount of 100. So from undeposited account, our undeposited fund decreases by 100 and then our checking account increases by 100. Next transaction, we have a gas expense on account amount to 200. So debit gas and electric expense increases by 200, and our it is charged to our account on account accounts payable increases by 200. Next, so we purchase um, an inventory, packaging materials inventory in the amount of 450 on account. So our inventory asset increases by 400 here, and our accounts payable increases by 450. Next transaction. So we get from our inventory, our packaging inventory, and use it as a office supplies. So worth 10 US dollars. So the entry is office expense debit increases by 10 US dollar, and credit inventory asset by 10 decreases. So here. Next transaction. So we purchase an asset, a truck, worth 8,000. So we credited it in our checking account. So our checking account decreases by 8,000, and our truck asset, which we purchase, increases by 8,000. Next transaction, we purchase a office supplies expense through our credit card worth 1,000. So the office expense increases by 1,000, and our MasterCard liability, credit card liability, increases by 1,000. So we also have another transaction on loans payable amounting to 11,000. So we deposited the fund that we received from the loan to our savings account. So the savings account increases by 11,000, and the loan payable increases by 11,000. Next transaction. So we have another notes payable amounting to 12,000. So we deposited the fund to our checking account, which results to increase of 12,000 in our checking account, and an increase on our liability notes payable of 12,000. Another transaction, we have an income amounting to 400 US dollar on our pest control services, which the fund we deposited to our checking account, which resulted to increase on our checking account by 400, and our increase in our income on pest control by 400. Another transaction, we have another service income deposited to our checking account in the amount of 250. So the checking account increases by 250, and the service income increases by 250. Next, we incurred an rent expense of 125, which we pay through our checking account. So the rent expense increases by 125, and our checking account decreases by 125. Last transaction. We have another expense, miscellaneous expense of 10 US dollar. So the miscellaneous expense, it increases by 10, and our savings account, where we get our fund, decreases by 10. So that's it. So we will check our balance sheet and our income statement. So our balance sheet, our total asset amounts to 47,417.50. Our total liabilities amounting to 24,650. So with our equity, 22,767.50. So as per checking, our total liabilities and equity, 47,417.50 is equal with our total assets. So with our checking formula here below, so this means zero means asset is equal to our liabilities and equity. So let's look at our income statement. So as per data in our income statement, our uh, income from services, total income amounting to 23,650 less our expenses amounting to total expenses 1,535. So the income less the expenses, the net operating income is 22,115, but we have another other miscellaneous expenses amounting to $10. So our net income is 22,105. So as we can see, our income statement is linked in our balance sheet, the net income 22,105. So at the end of the year, we will have our journal entry. So we will debit the net income. So we will close it out to our return earnings. So the amount is 22,105. So what happens to our balance sheet? So the data from the income statement is transferred to our retained earnings. So the result is still the same. Our total asset and our total liabilities are equal to zero. So which means our balance sheet is balanced. So that's all. That's our simple example of this tutorial, which where we can see that our transactions, as we inputted it in our spreadsheet, it will automatically be inputted on the balance sheet and income statement. For the copy of the Excel file template that I show you today, you can PM me. I will also schedule another session tutorial on how to create a template Excel with formula like this. Um, that's it. Thank you everyone, and I hope this video is helpful. This is only a basic template. We can create even much more complicated one template depending on your need or requirements. So that's it. So for comments, you can put your comments on this post on whatever other Excel topics you want me to create a video tutorial. Hopefully, I'll make another one. You can also input your questions below regarding this topic. So, yeah. So, thank you everyone and God bless. Stay home and keep safe.